and has successfully conducted workshops on life skills and positive psychology with students, helping them lead a more promising life with humanity being the core belief. I would now request ma'am to please enlighten our audience.
Thank you, Nidhi, for such a lovely introduction. I would first like to thank the organization for actually arranging such and organizing such a nice, webinar on a topic of anxiety. This is one of the issues which is absolutely alarming in these days. Okay, so I would actually like to start with one example here. Okay, and so I would want you people to really focus on the examples and the details that I will be giving here. That um, so, for example, there's this girl named Radha, okay, and she has a party to attend. So, she is deciding on what to wear, but then she's getting very, very restless. She's very nervous about, that she has to leave in, in like 4 hours. She's starting to feel nauseous. She is not able to, decide. There's a lot of confusion in deciding the clothes that she has to wear. There's a lot of confusion in, you know, um, how she will talk to other people. She is feeling so nervous that even if she'll be able to talk or not, or even if she'll be able to look good or not. So there's a lot of worry in her behavior. Okay. And then, so now now she's feeling extremely nauseous. There's really like a lot of, palpitations. There's a lot of sweating. This all is happening before the party. Once she reaches the party, she is feeling very, nervous again. And there's this person who comes and meets her, and one of her really old friend. And the person comes and talks, but then she has talks about a lot of, a very interesting topic in terms of her career. She has a lot of opinions. She has a lot of ideas, but then she's not able to put that forward. Okay, she's not able to explain the right things. She's not able to express her own ways of, how she conducts herself and what is her opinion. And at the end of the conversation, she feels defeated. She's very, very embarrassed at how she was able to, how she was not able to answer a lot of questions here. And every time she, now this was a scene of a party, but every time she goes for an interview or she goes for some work or there's a new social situation that she has to go into, there's a lot of nervousness. There's a lot of worry of how she is going to conduct herself. Okay. And slowly and gradually, what has started to happen that there's so much worry, there's so much nervousness, there's so much restlessness, and a lot of, not only like psychologically, there are a lot of changes that she's feeling, but also physically, like palpitation, sweating, nauseous, all of these feelings that she has started to feel. So now, slowly and gradually, she started to avoid the social situations. Now she prefers staying at home. And in fact, not only in social situations in terms of new social situations like parties or some interviews, but also that she stopped going to her work. She stopped going to her very close relatives. She stopped going out with friends. Now, what Radha is suffering here is anxiety disorder. That is why I started at the note where anxiety is very, very alarming. And I'm very happy with the organization that, they have chosen such a right topic in this particular time. And so, anxiety is that common that one in every 14 has anxiety. A lot of, a lot of money, like 40, in a research, it was seen that 42 billion is spent on anxiety, which is a very big amount all over the world, which is 42 billion. So, which is, you know, uh, in a way understood that this is, a very, very alarming stage. Also, the impact anxiety disorder will have on anybody's life is not limited to just, let's say, you know, um, sleep getting affected, the body getting affected, but also relationships are getting affected. The work is getting affected. People are not able to concentrate. There's a lot of problem with concentration. There's a lot of problem with, they're not able to remember a lot of things because the attention span goes very low. There's a lot of problems because they have a lot of irritation, a lot of
aggression inside because of what they are suffering. So a lot of problems in the relationships. Yeah. So we have to understand that what is anxiety here. Before understanding that, moving further to the management, we should understand what is anxiety. Okay. And the difference between, so what can be the anxiety? Like, is it like some sensation? Is it some personality that we have? Is it, coming from innate that we are born with it? What is it? So we have to understand that first, what is anxiety? So here in my talk, we will first understand what is anxiety. What is the difference between clinical anxiety and a normal anxiety? When is anxiety helpful and when is anxiety not helpful? Okay. And I will conclude with certain management techniques and certain ways of building the coping that will help us lower down and decrease anxiety that we are going through. Okay. So, first, understanding that uh, what is anxiety and the difference between clinical and normal anxiety. So, I'll give you an example here and explain you with an example. So, for example, we all are, in a jungle, okay, and there's a lion that comes our way, and we see a lion coming our way. Now, in that particular situation, imagine yourself, okay, there's a lion coming your way. Now, here you would have two, three different things. One, physically, you're very, your heart gets to, your heart starts palpitating, you start sweating, you start getting nervous, you start getting, you know, somewhere dizzy also. Um, you're not able to make a decision, you're not able to concentrate on one thought. All you're doing is you're worrying, and there's a lot of tension. Okay, so now this is what is a normal anxiety. Okay, when you have, now listen to this very carefully, when you have a fear around you, which is there's a genuine fear, there's a general danger basically, then if you're feeling these symptoms, it is absolutely normal. Okay, but when when there's no danger and still you're feeling these emotions where you're feeling the physical changes like what I mentioned here, and you're feeling psychological. So there are two things here. One, physical symptoms like palpitation, sweating, nausea, um, dizziness, uh, sweating. So all of these are physical symptoms of anxiety. Okay, and the psychological is a lot of worry, which is constant worry, constant preoccupation, constant tension. Okay, constant stress, a lot of preoccupation with a particular thought, and you're not able to concentrate. All of these things are anxiety symptoms. Okay, a lot of restlessness in the behavior, a lot of irritation in the behavior. So all of this is anxiety. But when you have danger, like for example, now when I mentioned a line approaching us, or second, when there is an exam. Okay, this is something that, or there's an interview. Now this is something where we know that we don't know what is going to happen. Okay, there is certain level of uncertainties there, and of course we have a performance. So normal level of anxiety is absolutely okay, but then somebody fainting, okay, somebody going very dizzy before an exam, now this is the problem. So anything which becomes a disorder is not only the symptoms. One is that the symptoms are very prolonged. Okay, like it is happening for more than a week, and the person is not able to concentrate, and before every exam there's a problem. Second, that it starts to interfere with the normal course of life. Anxiety is present, that is okay, but anxiety is affecting with you not being able to give the interview, not being able to give the exam. That is when it becomes a disorder. Okay, so as a clinical psychologist here, I would really like to clear one particular thing here, that anything, any problem becomes a disorder when it starts to interfere with the normal course of life. Not just the symptoms, it is when it starts to interfere with the normal course of life. Okay, so also we also have these manuals, like diagnostic manuals in psychology, like ICDs and DSM. So there are symptoms mentioned. Okay, but that doesn't always complete what we understand as a disorder. But then there are two other statements. One statement which says the time period for the anxiety, it should be minimum of 1 week, 1 to 2 weeks. And The third language says is that it starts to interfere with a normal course of life. That is when any problem, even for depression, like even for anxiety, all of the problems, when it starts to interfere with the normal course of life, that is when you need help. Okay, so this is very important for us to understand that what is anxiety and what is normal anxiety and what is clinical anxiety. I hope you people have understood that when there is danger and when there's a uncertainty and there's some performance that you have to do, and then you're feeling these symptoms, it is okay. Okay, but when there's no danger, like for example, I don't know when my husband is going to come. I don't know if he'll be okay also, if my children will be okay or not, and I'm just constantly worrying. And it's just a normal day of life, normal day. And you're starting to feel all of this, and you're not able to cook, you're not able to, sleep. So, all of these things, when you start to interfere with the normal course of life, that is a clinical anxiety. Now, let's actually move to the other part where I'll tell you about the management. Okay. The good part about anxiety is that it is, 100% manageable. But when you work on this one particular thing that I'm going to tell you, coping. Okay. Of course, medicines are something that would lower down or decrease the anxiety, but then it is not, I would say, um, not very applicable for a very long run. You have to work on yourself to lower or decrease the anxiety. Okay. So the first thing is that um, we have to work on the coping skills. The only thing which will help you lower down the anxiety, lower down the interference anxiety is causing in your life is through coping skills. And you have to increase your coping skills. If anybody out there who's listening to me and who's not able to deal with anxiety, it is not the anxiety, but it is the coping which is low. Okay, so how will you increase the coping? You very well can increase the coping, but how will you do that? First, I would start with a very basic thing, that if you are having anxiety, first start with a physical exercise. Okay, physical exercise the research shows that there's a neurotransmitter inside our brain which is called as GABA. Okay, and serotonin. So these two neurotransmitters they go low when you have anxiety. So to have like an optimum amount of release for them, you need to have some physical exercise. I'm not saying that too much. Okay, but then at least start with a basic, like let's say 15 minutes a day will also help you lower down anxiety. Okay, now the second thing, let's move to the strategies where we can understand how can we help our anxiety. um so the first thing is that people with anxiety, there's a very common symptom that comes to me when I see patients, is that they don't feel control over their life. Okay, that is where the things are lacking. They don't feel that they have enough control over their decisions, over the way they feel, over how they react to situations. So first is developing control over our lives and how to do that. Okay, this might sound very sometimes very unreal to you, but then this is how it will work. Okay, I have a lot of patients who have honestly started to work on the strategies, and they see huge amounts of improvement in their behavior, in the way they see life now. Okay, so the thing is that I'll say a line here: anything worth doing, just do it badly the first time. Okay, like a lot of time for people who are suffering from anxiety is spent on the decisions, karna, if you should do it or not. um you know you stay in a lot of confusion if this is the right thing for you to do or not. So the most important thing here is that anything worth doing, just do it. Okay, don't wait for the consequences, don't think about the consequences, just do it. Okay, anything which is worth doing. Okay, anything which is safe for you to do, anything which is like for example, you have to wear a dress and you don't know if it look good on you or not, just buy it and wear it, see it yourself. Okay, so this particular change where you bring that certainty in your life, the thing that where you bring that altogether a decision in your life, when you see that you are the one who's controlling your life, that will bring a huge change. But this particular thing is like a constant and a consistent effort that you would need from your side. So I will say, one thing which is important here to understand that it is not a day effort in anxiety or in any mental disorders, any emotional situation, that it's not a day that you make an effort and things will get better. No, you'll have to have a consistent effort for things to get better. Okay, so first, that taking control of your own life, that is important. That can be done by just doing the things which are worth doing, I'm saying, which are safe to do, which are something which that will help you further. So that is the first thing. And the second thing is where, you know um, now this is not only the research which says, but see, I specialize in anxiety. Okay, so when the patients come to me, I see one thing which has been very, very common, that they are not very kind to themselves. They are the one who's constantly criticizing themselves. It is not the other person, not only the other individuals, I would say, like agar if there are people who are present, but these people criticize themselves, that they are not good, they are not good looking, they are not the right person. They will not forgive themselves for certain things. Like I told you, like I initially started with an example, you remember, that that she felt defeated. It is her own words. I'm giving a very real life example, that the girl came to me and said that, ma'am, I felt defeated. So they are very, and it took her almost like more than a week to come out of that situation because she was so embarrassed. It is very, very difficult for these people to forgive themselves, to be kind to themselves. So the first thing which is important here, oh sorry, the second thing which is important here is to forgive yourself. Okay, at the end of the day, every day, make it a point that you say that, you people do forgive others, but it is time to forgive yourself. You can be definitely, not perfect. Nobody can be perfect. So you tell yourself that, of course, okay, fine, I was not able to deal with this better, fine, I will try to be a little better, but not that I was really, really bad. I can still, at least I had a lot of ideas, which means that I have knowledge. So one, that forgiving yourself, being kind to yourself, showing yourself love, and also, being uh, appreciating yourself, that is what is going to help you increase the coping skills. One is controlling your life. Second is forgiving yourself, being kind to yourselves, appreciating yourself. That will lower down anxiety because your body, your mind will get a signal that yes, yes, I'm feeling better because you're getting the love. So just imagine one day, okay, I'll say, imagine that there's somebody in your life and who comes and appreciates you and says, oh, how beautiful you look, I mean, you're so beautiful. Now this particular thing is very important because um, this will help you feel better. Just give me 1 second, please. 1 second. Yes. So now what was I saying here? That now it is important for us to understand that we have to forgive ourselves. We have to work on controlling, giving control to ourselves. And yes, the example that I was giving here was that, there's somebody coming to you in a day and saying, oh, how beautiful you look. Wow, you look so amazing. Okay. So you'll see that happiness on yourself, on your face. You'll blush. Now I'm asking you to do this to yourself. Okay, to be kind to yourself. Okay, now you also, the second example here, that there's someone who's very close to you and they didn't talk to you very nicely. Okay, now you are very upset with them, but they come and say you're sorry and they say that they'll improve. Okay, and you forgive them. Now they also feel better and you also feel better and you move on. Now I'm asking you to do the same to yourself. Appreciate and forgive yourself. Okay. And now these are the two strategies which will help you increase the coping. And the third important strategy, okay, which is that we have to, I'm before I start this third strategy, I'm not asking you to say that, you know, our happiness depend on others, but it is important that we spend time, because as you know, what we define ourselves as, we define ourselves as human beings, and human beings are defined as social beings. Okay, so it is very important that we find that purpose and meaning in our life, that whatever we're doing, for example, we're studying, so we're studying because we really want to make our parents proud. Okay, I really want to reach up to that goal, and there is somebody, so finding a purpose because of with the other person, that there is somebody who's getting very happy that you're doing this particular task. Okay, that purpose, that meaning I'm talking about, that why are you doing this, finding that. Okay, why are you doing this? Whatever you're doing in your life right now, whatever work you're doing, whatever work, I mean, in terms of studies, in terms of any religious practice, anything that you're doing, why are you doing that? Is there anybody who's getting happy because of it? So you're doing a great job, you're doing something for others also. Okay, when we were kids, we were told this one particular thing, and I remember this very clearly, that if you make others happy, you'll get the happiness. So always finding that purpose in your life, that there is somebody that I'm making happy. At least there's someone who's happy with me. At least there's someone who's, very proud of me. If not this particular day, but they were very happy of what I've done in my life. Okay. So that purpose, that meaning I'm talking about. So now I would actually leave you with certain questions here, but then this is where I really want to request you here, that at the end of the day, tonight, have the talk with yourself, that, one, that what will you be, if, for example, the first question is that if you try to take charge of your life, if you try to, you know, maybe, if, for example, in the past you must have done that, that you would just have done it, okay, done the thing that you've thought so much about. If you just have done it, what would be the change? Okay, one is this question. Second, that are you being very harsh on yourself? The self talk, is it very very harsh? So you have to have that introspection. And the third question, which is important, that what is it, why are you doing this particular thing? Who are you doing all of this for? Whatever you're doing in your life. Okay, so these three questions, I leave it on you people here, that this is where I would like to conclude. And I would also like to conclude here that with two things. One, that it is not a day effort which will make you better. Okay, it is the consistent effort which will make you better. Second is that all of this is done through a technique called affirmations. Okay, affirmations are basically this emotional encouragement that you give yourself, you do to yourself, that you will make yourself happy, and that will help you be consistent. Okay, every day affirming yourself that yes, I have to kind to myself. Yes, I have to take charge of my life. Yes, anything worth doing today, I will do it only. I will not think much, I will just do it. Okay, yes, I will do things for other people too. Okay, so affirm yourself with these statements. On my Instagram page, which is Antarmana, I talk a lot about affirmations. I talk a lot about emotional encouragements that you can give yourself. It is very important, the talk we have with ourselves, the talk we are having with ourselves should be okay. I would, I'm telling you, if we are able to work on the self talk we provide ourselves, we're going to have a huge difference in our lives. This is one thing which will automatically increase our coping skills. Okay, so again, last line, one thing, that consistent efforts will bring a lot of change in your people's life and the self talk. Okay, so this is how I would like to conclude. I hope whatever I spoke on, about anxiety here, it will be helpful. And one thing, that I talked about counseling here, I talked about self help here, but then also, if you think that, you know, um, somewhere you're not able to cope, don't wait for things to get severe. We people here, as psychologists, as counselors, we people are trained to help you. We have studied years to help you. Okay, so if you're not able to cope with it, just take help from us. Okay, we are all here for you. And even you don't have to like spend, like, let's say 10 sessions to feel better. If you take help at the initial time, When you start to feel all of this nervousness and worry without danger, then take help. Maybe in 5 sessions you will feel better. You don't have to wait for 10 sessions to feel better. Okay, so I wish you guys great lives ahead. I wish you guys a lot of happiness, a lot of kindness. Okay, and I hope you're able to feel better after the talk. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, ma'am, for sharing your views,